Today we're putting Pottery Barn to the test. The question is simple: should we buy it or DIY it? I've got a shopping list, a few ambitious ideas. By the end of this episode, we'll find out which Pottery Barn inspired pieces are actually worth recreating and which ones might be better left in the cart. A big thank you to Ollie for partnering with me on today's episode. Okay, now as much as I love walking through Pottery Barn and feeling all of the inspiration, the closest one is about an hour away. So we're doing a little online shopping first today and then heading out to hunt for supplies locally. And honestly, I think these are the kind of projects that are some of my favorites because they're proof that creating a beautiful home doesn't always require a huge renovation or massive budget. Sometimes it's the smallest details that make the biggest difference. So let's see what we can find.
I love Pottery Barn. I am in need of a dog bowl for Dolly because hers are kind of an aqua color and they also have like a chip in them. So I think I want something a little bit more muted and a different color. So let's see what they've got here. Okay, so, oh, those are cute. I don't know if that would necessarily match my kitchen. That could be fun to do. That might be harder to replicate the impression of a dog bone at the bottom. But this I like right here. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so we have some plain white ones, or you can customize this darker charcoal one. I think this is the size that we're gonna do. And let's see if we can customize it. I like the little paw print, that's cute. And let's put Dolly's name in and see how that looks. Oh, that would be cute. Okay, so that is $20. I think we could do a very similar look for less than that. All right, then I always like to go to the accessories. Let's see, let's go to pillows and decor. Let's see what we can find. All right, immediately I am so drawn to this and it looks like it's a bestseller. So I love the container. I actually like the flowers, the peonies in it. Super cute. Let's click on this real quick and get some more details. So it looks like there's a $40 version and then a $100 version. It's like an 8-inch version and then there's a 14-inch version, which is probably what we'll try to knock off. So that's $100. So let's go see what else there is. Okay, so there's just obviously a lot of options to choose from. Oh, that's kind of cute. Oh, I like that vase. Yeah, a lot to choose from here. Ooh, I would love to do this one someday. I think that is so great. Okay, so this candle right here, I love. Do you see that? That's so cool. I love this. It looks like in 2 sizes, but they only have it available in the 7-inch size. But look at that. This embossed thing, I feel like I could recreate that by using like an epoxy resin and then using a stamp. I feel like I should be able to recreate that look. That would be so cool. I love this. I think this would be a fun one to do. Right, first up is home goods. Let's go inside and see what we can find. These are more my color that I would love. It's a little smaller, but same idea. Look how pretty that cream color is, and they're $24.99. This is a pretty close match for like those Pottery Barn bowls that we're trying to imitate for Dolly. We could always go with like, this one's a little wide, but let me look around a little bit. Okay, I think we found a winner. Winner. This could have real possibilities. The shape of this is really nice. The price, $14.99. I don't know if that's like the best price ever, especially since we have to do something to it. Okay, we are now at Hobby Lobby. I'm hoping that we can find some flowers here, but we will look for a couple of different things here. These are beautiful tulips. Okay, as far as bushes go, they only have like white and yellow and pink. We are close to a Michael's, so I may check that out as well. So I'm gonna keep looking around to see if we need anything else here, but I may go see what they have at Michael's. Okay, so they have these bowls, kind of like the ones we saw at Home Goods. $17.99, 40% off. That would make a pretty good price.
They also have it a little bit smaller. The shape of this is good, and like also the thickness matches ours. So like painting this might be a really good option. If we did paint this, then we could leave the interior of the wood untouched and just only like paint like the rim and the outside. That way this still is functional as a like a food safe bowl. So that might be a good option. Now we're checking out Ross for candles and maybe another potential for the vase, because the one we have is close but not like super close. So let's go see what they've got. All right, I'm walking down to Michael's and I noticed that their candles are on sale here for $12.99. That's actually cheaper than the one at Hobby Lobby, so that's a possibility. But I think Michael's has some like really good budget candles. They're like $5 or $7 and they're kind of big. So I want to see what they have there first, because we're doing this on a budget. I'm smelling now. Let's smell it together. Oh, that is good. It's okay if we switch the scent, right? Yes, you can. Okay, this is citrus. I don't really love this citrus scent here, but that would technically meet the criteria. However, the strawberry one smells ridiculously good. There's this one that's honey and vanilla, and since it's gonna have like a bee on the front, I feel like that would be appropriate. This smells really, really good. So maybe this is the winner. Hopefully we can get lucky in here on the peonies. Now these are ginormous too. What's up with all the ginormous peonies? Man, that's a cabbage rose. That's really pretty. That's kind of close to what we're looking for, but there's only one that I can see. It just might be the wrong time of year for a tan colored flower. I'm gonna grab this one. I don't know. I'm gonna go dig through here and make sure I didn't miss any more of these. I really like these. And I might look on Amazon, so we'll see what we can do. You guys, I just checked out and bought the candles, and I was assuming I was gonna be paying $7.99 per candle. Now I saw the 3 for $9.99, but I assumed that was for the small candles. You guys, those bigger candles, 3 for $9.99. That made them $3.33 per candle. Okay, so we're back home and I wanted to start with the quickest win of the day. This is a personalized Pottery Barn stoneware pet bowl, and it sells for $19.50 before shipping. And honestly, it's adorable, but it's also surprisingly simple. I found these stoneware bowls at Home Goods for just $3.99 each, and they were almost identical to the inspiration pieces. All I did was I hopped onto Canva, created the design, it out on my Cricut machine using some leftover vinyl scraps I already had on hand. Then all you need to do is just weed it, put some transfer tape on. And within minutes, Dolly has her own designer-inspired pet bowls. When you factor in the cost of the bowl and tiny amount of vinyl, this came in at around $4.25. Compared to about $20 from Pottery Barn, I'd call this a pretty convincing DIY. Now, if you don't have a Cricut machine, you could absolutely paint the name on instead. They have a lot of like stencils for that at Hobby Lobby and other craft places. Either way, this is one of those projects that proves you don't need a huge budget to create something custom and special. Now that the bowl is finished, we need something worthy of going in it. And if you've been here for a while, you know Dolly has pretty high standards. Actually, a funny story, there was another Ollie and Dolly's life once, a sweet little cockapoo, red in color, named Ollie, who was absolutely obsessed with her. Dolly, not so much. She was friendly, let's just say. She wasn't exactly writing Mr. Ollie in her notebook. But there is one Ollie that she absolutely loves, and that's today's sponsor, Ollie. If you're obsessed with your dog like I am, then you know that they're family and you want the very best for them. That's one of the reasons that we've been loving Ollie. Their meals are made with fresh, human-grade ingredients that are gently cooked and frozen at peak freshness. And Dolly knows exactly when it's mealtime. One thing that I really appreciate is how personalized everything is. You simply just take a quick quiz about your dog and Ollie creates a meal plan that's tailored specifically for their needs. The meals come perfectly portioned, they're incredibly easy to serve, and Dolly runs into the kitchen the moment she hears me open the fridge. All you need to do is pull back the corner. There we go. I also love that you can easily adjust meals, deliveries, and add-ons whenever you need to. It's healthy, nutritious, and she absolutely loves how it tastes. And now the moment she's been waiting for. She has been sitting here so patiently. A little Ollie for our little Dolly. So let's give it to her. Okay, she's really happy right now. She's just eating her little heart out. Head to the link in the description box below and use the code DOLLEE, that's DOLLEE, to get 70% off your first box. Now, let's get back into saving a whole lot of money on high-end decor. Okay, now that Dolly is fully spoiled, let's move on to the project that definitely gave me the biggest challenge of the day. When I first saw this candle online, I thought, how hard could this possibly be? And I actually had envisioned how I was gonna even do it. Turns out, it was a little harder than I expected. Now, remember, we are trying to beat the Pottery Barn version, which sells for $50 on sale and $70 normally. And at first glance, it looks so simple. A glass vessel, a pedestal base, and a small embossed bee detail. But as I started experimenting, I realized that the tiny bee was going to be the key to making this look convincing. And I tried several different approaches. Now, my original plan was to mix up some epoxy, pour it right onto my Aaliyah mat, which is amazing, by the way, and you can pour epoxy right on it, hot glue, paint, all of that, and it holds up. It's awesome. So if you don't have one in your craft room, you definitely need one. So that was the plan. And then what I was gonna do once I poured that epoxy onto the mat was take a bee stamp, which I got on Amazon, and stamp it into the epoxy. Well, I was gonna let it set up a little bit first and then stamp it. And I tried this so many different ways. So I tried the Gorilla Glue 5-minute epoxy. I also tried the Dollar Tree 5-minute epoxy. I didn't try regular epoxy, but since these weren't working out, I didn't feel like I was gonna get that big of a difference. So I tried one last, I did a few different ones of them, and then I tried one last time with the epoxy by leaving the stamp in it as it was drying. And you can see it subtly, you can see the embossment, but it's not pronounced, and it's you have to look for it. So with that, it just felt kind of like a blob of epoxy, and I was just not happy with the way it looked. So I thought about all of my different options, and then I decided to go back to Hobby Lobby and grab some glass beads. Now, these are the larger glass beads, not the smaller one. They come in 2 different sizes. This one's their larger version. And I thought, well, I could either put vinyl on it or I could etch the glass of the bead. And that's what I did. So I made a little stencil on Cricut and did a bead that was very similar to the one that we're trying to replicate. I tried it on the back and the front because I thought maybe if we etched it on the back, then that would show through the glass and look a little bit more 3-dimensional. Well, that didn't work out because once you put the glue on it, it kind of disappeared. And then I was at this point, I'm I don't even know if this is gonna work. So let's do a backup plan. We'll do one that's just straight up vinyl on the bead in a gold, and we'll use that if this other version didn't work. So I had that on hand. But what I did end up doing is I etched the front of the bead, and that ended up working. Now, it is curved on the front, which makes it a little bit more challenging, and I didn't catch this on video. I don't know what happened, but to get it kind of to suction in and not be a splotchy mess, I used hot hair dryer to kind of shrink wrap it around the bead, and that will kind of prevent you from having the etching cream bleed out, and then you don't have a clean bee. So that will help you. So shrink wrap it essentially onto that, and then use some etching cream. You just put it on generously, kind of move it around, make sure, because sometimes it will slide. You want to make sure it's very generously covered for 5 minutes. Then you wipe off the excess, and then you go wash off your bead, and then it's etched. And I was was like, okay, this is not embossed, but this is pretty good. I can live with this. And so then I just took some super glue and glued that to our vessel. And so I was like, phew. So in the end, I used the glass bead, etched the bead design directly into the glass, and then attached it to the front of the vessel, and it worked out great. But now we need to turn it into a candle. So I took those 3 honey vanilla scented candles that we got at Michael's, and again, you can do whatever color you want, and I melted those down. In addition, I melted down a Dollar Tree $3 pillar candle that had like a little bit more of like a yellowy tone to it, like a creamy yellow. And the reason I did that was because the wax of our candle was white and we needed it to be a little bit warmer, like our inspiration, which was a little bit. So I just did this to change the color to try to match it up a little bit better. You don't need to do this, but if you don't do this, you would probably need 4 of those Michael's candles to fill up this size vessel, which I did pick up on one of our trips to Home Goods. And then you melt a little bit, and then I filled up the bottom a little bit, and then I had some longer wicks that I put in there. I put in 3. I would think that you would need at least 3, maybe 4, so that it melts down well for this size. And then I just filled it all the way up. It did kind of cave in the middle after it fully dried, so I had to do one more layer on top to just kind of finish it and make it sure it was nice and smooth. And then you just cut off the excess candle wicks, and that's it. So once everything came together, it looked surprisingly close to the original. One thing I love about this project is that there are several ways to save even more money. So you could use a thrifted container. Now, I had this one that I bought at a thrift store years ago. It was probably like $5, which is less than the Home Goods version, which is $12, but it's also like way bigger. So you would have to do way more candle wax in it, but big candles are really in right now. I don't know if you've seen them, like the big vessel candles. They're huge and they're really popular. So you could totally do this, but this was bigger than we needed to go. And honestly, because you would need to put more wax in it, I don't know that it would necessarily save you more money for this particular vase. But if you could find something similar to this that's a little bit smaller, definitely at a thrift store, you would save way more money getting it there. And they have so many glass pieces. So you could just keep your eyes peeled for that. So this is one option, very, very similar to the one that we use, but much larger. Also, Dollar Tree sells little vessels like this. Well, they're not very little. This is also bigger than the one we ended up using, so you would end up using more candle wax. But I think there might be some different sizes. This might be the $5 version. I don't know. There might be a $3 version. I can't recall. I had this in my stash. Then Hobby Lobby sells this piece here for $3. And if you epoxy this on the bottom like so, there you have a very similar vessel. So if you got like this one for $3 and this for $3, you'd be into it $6, and that would save you a lot of money. This size again would be more wax, but I think that there's ways you could save money on the candles too. Like go through your stash, melt a whole bunch together, put it together. Anyways, I think this would be incredible gift idea. So maybe put that on your radar for, I mean, we're still ways away from Christmas, but you could maybe keep your eyes open and start collecting some of these things, because I do think it would be an awesome Christmas gift idea. So the version I created came in at around $25. About half of the cost was the container itself. The other half was the equivalent of 4 candles to fill it. And then the bead, I didn't hardly charge anything for it, because I think the bead itself, I used 1 bead and it was like 10 cents. So around $25. And so if you're willing to thrift, you could bring the price of that down even further. But even at $25, that's roughly half the cost of the Pottery Barn version on sale, and about a third of it when it's not on sale. So I felt really good about that. And honestly, I think it looks just as beautiful, very, very classy. We have saved a pretty decent chunk of change, and honestly, I think this candle is giving Pottery Barn a run for its money. If you agree, give this video a thumbs up. If you disagree, give it a thumbs up anyways, because I worked really hard on that bead. And if you're not already subscribed, I would love if you join our little decorating community where we're constantly proving that beautiful homes don't require unlimited budgets. Okay, so far, would you buy it or DIY it? Is Pottery Barn versions worth the extra money, or would you rather save the difference and make it yourself? Let me know in the comments because I genuinely love seeing where everyone lands on these kinds of things. Okay, now for my favorite project of the entire episode. And honestly, this one perfectly illustrates something I've learned over the years. A beautiful home rarely comes from an expensive purchase. It's usually the result of lots of thoughtful little decisions layered together over time. So this decorative bowl arrangement immediately caught my eye. The bowl alone sells for around $100, and once you add the flowers, you're looking at roughly $170 for the complete look. The challenge was finding the right bowl shape. You saw me go through all of the shopping, and after a lot of searching, I found a wooden bowl with a very similar silhouette, but not the right finish. So what I did is I taped off the inside of the bowl, and you don't have to do this. I just wanted to leave it wood in case I wanted to ever throw fruit in it or anything like that. And I figured once the flowers were in, nobody was gonna know the difference anyways. And so I just taped it off and kept the inside of it just a wood bowl, but you don't have to do that. And then I took 3 different colors. So one was the French linen chalk paint, and then one was like a darker version. And after doing like a little section, I felt like it was not getting the warmth that we needed that came from the inspiration one. So I grabbed this kind of golden buttery tone to throw in there as well, and that made all of the difference. And I just stippled that on with a little bit of baking soda. Okay, so I've just made like a pile of baking soda, the French linen, and this is the barnwood. And we're just kind of stippling it on, creating texture and kind of mixing the 2 colors. I think that's giving us like a really cool finish. And just kind of tap, 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 tap. And that gives it some texture, which would be like more of like a ceramic thing. And I think that that worked out great. Now, once I was all done, I thought, well, maybe we want to add in some antiquing glaze because that has worked really well on some of my other pieces. And it just was not vibing right. So I ended up just scratching that idea, covering it back up with some of the colors and getting rid of it because it was just not working. Then I let it fully dry, and I was thrilled with the result because it looked so much like the original one. Honestly, I was shocked by how convincing it turned out, but the flowers were a little trickier. Okay, so I found 2 cream peonies similar to the original piece, and I know I'm gonna get the peony police out. Some people say peonies and some people say peonies, and both people think they're right, depending on what part of the country you live in. I say peonies. If you say peonies, please forgive me. If you say it another way, I apologize. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying it the way I was raised. Okay, back to it. I found the 2 cream peonies similar to the inspiration piece, but I couldn't find enough of them to recreate the arrangement exactly. I did find some taupe versions, but the color was just not quite right. So instead, I filled out the rest with ranunculus, cabbage roses in the same color, and a little greenery. And here's the funny thing. I actually like my arrangement better. It's fuller, and I think it looks a little bit more finished. The Pottery Barn inspired arrangement would have cost roughly $170. My version came in at around $52 total. And while the goal of buy or DIY is never just to save money, I think this project highlights something really important. Sometimes creativity allows us to create something that feels even more personal than the original. So let's take a look at everything together. The personalized pet bowl, the bee candle, the floral arrangement, Three Pottery Barn inspired pieces, 3 very different DIYs, and 3 reminders that you don't have to wait for the perfect budget or the perfect moment to create a home you love. I think so many of us believe beautiful homes happen after the big renovation, after the dream furniture, after the next phase of life. But most of the time, beautiful homes are created exactly like this. One project, one thoughtful detail, one small improvement at a time. And before you know it, you've created a space that feels warm, welcoming, and uniquely yours. Now I need your final verdict. For each of these projects, would you buy or DIY? Let me know in the comments below because I love seeing where everyone lands. And don't forget, if you'd like to try Ollie for your own furry family members, be sure to use my link and coupon code below to get 70% off your first box. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. And if you enjoyed this episode, here's another one that I think you'll like as well. And in the meantime, I just want to remind you that you are powerful. We'll see you next time. Bye.